Alright, welcome to the White Athletics video. Today we're going to be talking about glute activation, okay? A couple of the actions of the glutes. Okay, we talk about glute max activation, glute medial activation, and glute minimus activation, okay? Sometimes when we're asked to squeeze our glutes, we don't really know exactly what we do, so what we do is we actually squeeze them together. And this is not exactly innervating them to actually create the movement that we want to create. So what we're going to do here is a quick warm-up that you can do before you squat or deadlift to correctly innervate your lats to cue them to perform the task that is required when you're asked to do it, okay? So we're going to start in this particular warm-up exercise here with our legs just outside shoulder width apart, toes pointed outward, okay? Right now you can see the legs are what they call the neutral position. They're not internally or externally rotated, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to immediately or internally rotate our hips, okay? Muscles responsible for this are glute minimus, glute medius. We pull it, we ask for this retraction to happen, hold it, and release. Now we're going to rotate externally, hold it, and release. And what I'm doing is I'm having my hands actually on my glutes to feel them, how they work. Because I mean, a lot of times like, we know how our bicep feels, we know how a lot of the anterior musculature feels, but the posterior chain, we don't always engage with it with our hands and touch it and feel it. I encourage you to touch it, feel it, see how it feels when it contracts, then you know, oh yeah, that's what it feels like when it contracts, okay? So we're gonna go from the side. Now I would say that performing this, I would do one set, nice and slow. 15 or 20 reps, nice, slow repetitions. You're making sure that you're feeling, number one, do I have any restrictions? Are my feet coming off the ground as I'm going through rotation? If there are, we may have to do some mobility work to go ahead and correct that, right? Do I feel any pain? Do I feel any discomfort? Sometimes, especially when you're doing the medial rotation, you're gonna feel some tightness in your hips, right? If that's the case, we need to work on a couple things we'll talk about in some other videos there about how to correct that discomfort so you can move in a pain-free way. So from the sides, same foot position, everything is the same. Hands on the glutes here, so I'm going to rotate internally. My feet are staying on the ground and relax. Externally, here, feet are staying firmly planted on the ground. I feel when I'm doing this, I'm trying to imagine all the tips of my toes staying in contact with the ground, my heels staying in contact with the ground. It's important to stay really focused and think about all your toes touching the ground so that you can maintain that solid base of support as your hip is rotating. Because if your feet are coming off the ground, now, when you're loaded and squatting, that's still going to happen, and then what's going to happen is that you're going to have some knee problems, you're going to have some injuries or strains you don't want. So maintaining a solid foot position through this rotation is essential. So we're going to, once again, rotate, relax internally, relax externally. And like I said, do this about 15 or 20 times, nice and slow to get the feeling. How does it feel for my glutes to create these movements that I'm asking them to create, okay? Maintaining a solid foot position on the ground, imagining the tips of your toes staying engaged with the floor and that your hip is just rotating seamlessly through there. And like I said, if you feel some pain or discomfort, we may have to do some mobility work to address those issues first. And if you do feel that discomfort, I would suggest doing the mobility work or stretching prior to engaging in any sort of loaded activity to make sure that those movements are going to be performed in the safest, most effective way possible. All right, thanks very much for watching. Please click on the subscribe link below. We'll see you soon.